guys? Welcome back to the Hush Life Podcast. We are coming at you from an amazing place, an absolute amazing place. We are in the heart of New Mexico right now, and we are accompanied by Mr. Adam, the hunt winner. If you guys remember, we gave a hunt away, and he was the lucky winner. And we were sitting around.
Let's paint the picture for the people.
Yeah. Paint it up, Brian. It's a blank canvas right now.
It's a gorgeous day. We're in a bit of a meadow surrounded by junipers, some pinyon pines. Directly behind us, Logie Bear and Matty Ice are getting busy on the ones and twos. And by that I mean they're getting ready to cook us some breakfast. The camp chef is going to get fired up. We're going to have some of Adam's families. Adam owns a butcher shop in upstate New York. They brought us plenty of custom meats, so we're going to cook up some of their bacon this morning and do some eggs and just a good old-fashioned breakfast. But we're wrapping up, like Casey mentioned, an incredible elk hunt giveaway. We've got the wall tent behind us. Just couldn't really get any prettier this morning. Dealt with a little bit of weather, but we figured, you know what, we should jump on here while Adam's around, do a little recap, talk about what just went down in the last 5 days.
Yeah, it's definitely been a struggle this week, but it's been an awesome struggle. You know what I mean? It's been amazing.
Let's jump back a little bit further. Let's take it back and talk about.
You're on your lawnmower.
I'm on my lawnmower. Yeah.
When was this? Do you remember?
I don't remember the day specifically.
Either. What was the month?
It was a Sunday. I know that.
It was a Sunday. You're on the riding mower.
Riding mower. I got a 0-turn bad boy.
Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
It was beautiful out. Yeah, and I turned my ringer on, which I never do, and I just felt it vibrating in my pocket. And I pulled it out and I looked at it. I was like, Salt Lake City, Utah. And I was like, who could that possibly be? So I did. I almost like ignore and put it back in my pocket like I normally do.
I got to tell you,
typical.
That happens a lot. Yeah. We get iced generally when we're calling people to announce some kind of a winning giveaway. Usually like the first call we'll get iced. Then we'll typically send like a follow-up text like, hey, Adam, you should really answer your phone right now. But most people don't know out of the gate, like, why we're, like, who it is. It doesn't add up in their mind.
Yeah. It didn't cross your mind at all?
It didn't. I honestly completely forgot about the giveaway.
But so you knew you bought during the period of the giveaway, and, like, when you do that, are you thinking, like, oh, I have no chance, or, hey, that's going to be me? What was your attitude going into it?
It's always, I have no chance if I don't get entered. But, you know, I never expected to win, that's for sure. And, yeah, when I first answered the phone, it was just like, your son answered there, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I was so confused. And I remember spam calls going around. They're like, never say the word yes or anything like that because I can use it. So I was like speaking, you know.
For those of you that don't know, we often do these giveaways, and we've had some big ones, some small ones through our SMS text. But what we do is we'll set up a time frame where if you shop on our website, that every dollar you spend on the website during the time frame it's open is an automatic entry to win the giveaway. So this time we did an elk hunt giveaway, and it was the most requested we've ever done.
Yeah,
like we've done truck giveaway,
side
the
by
Can-Am.
side. Yep.
And currently doing a giveaway right now for a hunt camp giveaway that includes a truck and a trailer. But people who watched us, the number one request was they wanted a chance to come hunt with us. You know, and we always thought we would love that, but how we put that together.
The legalities of it all.
Yeah, unfortunately, the legalities has always kind of scared us away from taking someone out with firearms, whatnot.
Yep.
So
we partnered up with some friends of ours. Chris Geikma runs an outfit called Compass West. Does a ton of hunting all over the place, but kind of more or less headquartered in New Mexico. And he was kind of like the perfect fit. You know, New Mexico is a destination state for elk hunting, arguably one of our favorite places to go. And we have had like a lot of history here over the years, and just a cool place to come and chase elk. So we figured like that would be one of the greatest hunt giveaway opportunities we could do. So we leveraged Compass West and all their resources and tools. And so Adam was able to win the hunt. So he went out with their guide, Mike. Mike's fantastic. Ironically enough, Eric and I met Mike 4 years ago down here, randomly in a Walmart. and he stopped us and said hello and said he had followed the Hush channel, and his son Corey followed us and all this stuff. And who would have thought 4 years later that he would be the guy guiding Adam on this hunt? So the way it worked is we ended up getting 2 elk tags. Adam got his tag that he won. He also got a pile of gear from a bunch of our sponsors and partners. And then Mike, his guide, would take him out with Corey. Logie Bear and Matt would join him, and then hopefully one of us would kind of rotate in and out. There's just too many guys to have everybody together typically. And then I was fortunate enough to also have a tag. So we kind of had 2 tags. My tag was do-it-yourself. It was just kind of our guys that weren't with Adam and Mike rotating and helping me out. So we kind of would split up every morning. Early mornings, waking up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, staying out all day long, and getting home, well after dark is kind of the game plan. So we'd divide up every single morning, go our separate ways, come back and kind of recap what happened. And we were able to set up this wall tent here. We provided all the cooking and the food for Adam, who also brought his dad, Dean, along. So that was kind of like the basis of the program. These hunts are only 5 days, so they're short. 5 days goes real fast when you're elk hunting. But overall, it was a super fun week.
Yeah, I want to go back to after you won, because I was talking to Dean about this yesterday. Kind of hung out with Dean for the most part yesterday class, and one of the things I brought up to him was, and one of the things we talked about when we decided to do a hunt giveaway was, wasn't that we were just going to give a prize away. We were going to go and hang out with somebody for 5 days. And the old thing that I always say, the old saying is, if you want to know if you get along with somebody, go spend a week in the elk woods with them. And so when we were giving this away, it was a little nerve-wracking because we can't choose who wins, right? Like a third party picks the name, draws the name, and sends us the name, and then that's who wins. So we were a little nervous about, maybe you get somebody that you aren't going to get along with, or whatever it might be. But immediately after you won, we did some research. We always do a little research. We dive into some social medias, and we found you, and we're like, this guy looks legit. Like, he goes to Colorado. He's from New York, but he goes to Colorado. He gets after elk. But what was the telltale sign was after you'd won, it was a few days later, you posted something to your Instagram, a video about how grateful you were that you were the winner, and that you felt a lot of pressure because there was a lot of other people that wished that they were going to be in your shoes. But yeah. And you understood that. And immediately after that, and I told your dad this yesterday, like, we chose the right winner. Like, you were supposed to be here, man. You're just such a gracious person, such a thankful person, and I don't think it could have gone to a better person. Yeah,
well, I certainly appreciate that.
Yeah,
it was awesome. It was pressure. I did want to make, because I knew everyone wanted to be on this hunt with you guys, and the fact that I got to meet all you guys and go and just see how nice you guys and you guys treated my father with such respect and helped him out. That was awesome, and it was just awesome to be out here with you guys.
So after the lawnmower phone call,
did you finish the lawn?
What happened? Like, what was going through your head? Like the next day or two?
I ran around my field for a while, all pumped up. Yeah, I obviously had to finish the lawn, but it was with a smile on my face the whole time. So, yeah, I went around, told everybody, what had happened and that I won, and everyone was just super stoked.
Do your friends, like your closest friends, your hunting buddies, did they believe you right out of the gate, or were they like, no? No one believed me. I after you guys released the video of the winning thing, I text the link to everybody through YouTube, and they're like, a lot of them just dismissed it because they were like, yeah, what, and I was like, dude, you got to listen to it. I didn't say, look what I won, I just sent them the video, and they were like, no way that you won that. No one could believe it. Because we watch you guys all the time, we go shoot indoor archery in the wintertime. We shoot bows inside, and there's nothing else to do, so we pull up, watch a bunch of your videos and stuff. That's cool.
What was your approach, your mindset after it kind of all settled in, the gear started rolling in, as far as the preparation for the hunt? You, like Casey mentioned, you guys have done Colorado for a long time with archery tackle, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is your first rifle elk hunt, right?
Yeah, my first rifle elk hunt. It was a lot different. It was actually a lot less preparation because you guys had supplied me with everything, so that was nice. But yeah, I knew we didn't have to pack a camp or anything like that, so it was like being pampered pretty much on a hunt. It was awesome. So yeah, it was just a lot of preparing mentally, losing a lot of sleep, getting excited to come out.
So did you do a lot of research on the unit and kind of look look at what you'd be hunting. And
I was looking at Google Earth and OnX and all that just to see what I could come up with. And like you guys with Adam Weatherby, that movie premiere, that was awesome.
Yeah. That was 4 years ago out here. Same hunt. 2 tags.
2 tags. That's actually how this all, I mean, we were talking about this yesterday after, well, we'll talk about that later, but after everything went down, you know, it's just funny how, like, little things lead to big things in life. And we had this tag 4 years ago with Adam Weatherby, brought him out here. We knew nothing about the unit. Fortunately, we had some friends, the Caminos, that live down here. Great people, helped us out a little bit. So we met Chris and his guy Jeff, and they came and helped us out. And that's kind of how this hunt, you know, unfolded. Is we knew Chris had some landowner tags. The great thing about New Mexico is they give out a lot, so they sell a lot of landowner tags. So a landowner has some land, he can sell a tag. You don't necessarily hunt their property, you just get to go and hunt the unit if it's a unit-wide tag. Anyway, so we met Chris 4 years ago, and we knew that we could probably do something with him on a hunt giveaway, and that's kind of how this all unfolded.
Yeah, which is I'm super grateful for, because without that, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Small things lead to big things, man.
Talk a little bit about like your family business. I think it's super cool.
My grandmother and grandfather opened it back in 1973. Started off prior to that as like a vegetable stand. They did a lot of gardening, big fields full of everything you can think of. And my grandfather worked at the local IGA in town as a meat cutter, and he wanted to. They were closing down, and he wanted to buy the business, but they wouldn't sell it to him. So he decided, you know what, I don't like the taste of these people's hams and all this stuff anyways. It's too salty, so I'm going to go start my own business right behind the vegetable stand. So he kind of took a big leap on that and started it up, and it just took off from there. We've just been started off as just a little building, and we've just been adding on. It kind of looks like the building looks like a Frankenstein building, kind of. There's like little wings everywhere, but yeah, it's just blown up. He found a recipe for because the same brine and everything goes into the bacon, the hams, everything, even our corned beef.
Yeah.
So he kind of based it on that, and it just took off there. So we do a bunch of custom processing for local farmers and stuff to kind of keep the farmers markets going in the area. And then we also have a retail store where we do our own smoking and cutting. Pretty much any meat you can think of, we have it.
What's the name of your butcher shop?
Locust Grove Smokehouse.
Okay. The vegetable stand is kind of a funny story, and I got this out of your dad yesterday. And this is so when I called Adam up probably a month ago just to ask him about, you know, because we're going to provide the food and the cooking and everything. I just kind of wanted to know what they typically like to eat or what they don't like to eat. And the one thing Adam said was, my dad doesn't eat vegetables. And I was like, all right, what does that mean exactly? And he definitely doesn't eat a lot of vegetables. The first night, I think we had some spaghetti and we made salad, and he was like, nope, don't do salad. I'm like, man, this guy like does not like vegetables. So yesterday when we were glassing, he was telling me the story of the vegetable stand, and this is why he doesn't like vegetables. Yeah. It's not even that he doesn't like them. He told me he has a vendetta against them.
Yeah.
Because
oh my gosh,
they had 90 acres of vegetables that he had to go and pick for the vegetable stand. So like he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I had to go pick 4 bushels of corn before I could go to swimming lessons, or I had to go pick X amount of beans before I could go to school. And he brought that up yesterday. I thought that was hilarious. That's why he doesn't like vegetables, is because he had to pick them when he was a kid.
Yeah, my grandfather worked them boys. Him and my uncle worked them pretty hard when they were younger, but it built a great work ethic, and that's why they keep that business going till today.
Your dad started there obviously right at it as a kid working for the family business, right?
Yeah.
And it's continued on with your uncle.
Yeah, my uncle and him started there, and I started pretty much the same time. I was on the kill floor dragging hides at 12 years old, and then kind of just work your way up. And
yeah.
So what do you mostly do now for the butcher shop?
I just do all the smoking and a lot of dealing with customers and stuff like that,
Right.
Because we have our own smoke. We have 2 giant smokers, so I got to fill all the stores, and then people bring stuff in, and I smoke that, and then all the custom processing, smoke that too.
I know one of the things you talked to me about yesterday that you were planning on doing, if you were lucky enough to get an elk, was something for making sandwiches.
Yeah.
Top round?
I take the top round and I rub it with all my spices that I like to rub it with. I take Gravy Master, actually, and you rub that over the outside. I kind of picked that up from my dad and my uncle.
Okay.
And it kind of keeps all the... It's like a binder almost.
Yeah.
It keeps all the spices on the top round. Stick it in the smoker, cook it till the internal's about 125, pull it out. It's the best roast beef you'll ever have.
Man.
Wow. I want to try that. That sounds delicious.
amazing.
So family business is going strong. You guys go to Colorado every year. What was, like you talked kind of a little bit about like destination. You haven't really got into the points game yet, so you're feeling a little bit of pressure in the sense of, man, how am I going to ever get on some of these other units? You do the over-the-counter Colorado thing every year.
Yeah.
But you haven't really participated in, playing the points game out west. Do you think that's going to change after this week?
I would imagine I'm going to put in for New Mexico every year.
Yeah, there you go.
I told Mike, I said if I ever draw an archery tag, I'd love to go with him because he seems like he's so stoked to go.
Absolutely, yeah.
To go shoot bulls with his bow, and take his clients out. It says out here when it's archery season, it's just like unreal. You go up and you bugle, and they just bugle in every canyon all over the place, and you just find the biggest one and go after it.
Yeah, so Mike's son, Corey, helped us out the first couple of days. He was talking to me about the archery hunt. And I go, what's that like down here during the archery season? Because this unit has a lot of elk.
Yeah.
Like, you go out, you're going to see elk, you're going to see bulls. He goes, oh, dude, you don't even understand. He goes, you think you see a lot of elk now, but during the archery season, you come out and you bugle, there's bulls bugling everywhere.
Yeah.
And then he goes, the rifle hunt, you're wondering where they all went. Even though we were seeing 10, 15 bulls a day. I guess it's phenomenal down here. But, yeah, Mike has been absolutely awesome. He's worked his tail off. Let's talk about the hunt.
Let's
Drive out here. Give us your schedule, your rundown of how you guys got here.
Yeah, we decided we were going to kind of treat this as a vacation, more so as a stressful hunt, So we decided to take it easy coming across the country because it's a 32-hour drive for us.
Jeez.
Yeah, we were going to fly out, but then I was like, the cost of shipping the meat back and the rack and all that stuff, because I was pretty confident we were going to get something. So, yeah, we drove off. We took, I think, 4 days to get here, just driving till dinner time and then stopping and having something good to eat.
Not pushing it.
Yeah,
I
we
like
want to
that.
be overtired because we knew it was a short hunt. So if we got here and we weren't acclimated for the first day or something like that, or too tired out, and that's one day you're tired. So we just took it slow. So we were just on our normal routine. We got here, got set up, and
So the hunt started the 23rd, I believe.
Correct.
And you guys showed up to camp the 22nd pretty early, like around noon?
yeah, Friday the day prior. Got here about 1 o'clock, I think it was, and we met a couple guys, Brandon and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they took us down to the gun range and we shot some rounds and made sure the gun was on, and everyone was just so accommodating here. It was nice.
Yeah, the Compass West guys got a great setup here. You roll into camp, they got a bunch of wall tents set up on nice platforms, big kitchen cook tent, shooting range, bathrooms. Really nice I think it held, 8 hunters were in camp on this hunt?
I think so, yeah.
8 hunters and 8 guides and a cook.
And then a bunch of hush guys running around
Bunch
camp.
of us guys running around. So that's when we met you. We rolled into camp the 22nd about 4 o'clock, 4:30.
Yep.
Met you for the first time, and you guys had dinner with the Compass West guys the first night.
Yep.
What was your expectations, thoughts going into opening morning?
I didn't expect to see as many bulls as we did right off the bat. They were a lot bigger. I mean, even the ones we were seeing that everyone's like, oh, that's just a small bull, that's just a small bull. That was big for me coming from where we hunt that over-the-counter unit in Colorado. And we just sat and glassed one side hill, and you could just see them coming up everywhere. It was crazy out here.
This year was a little unique, too. They had a great moisture year, and so the feed was plentiful. Water was everywhere. So sometimes down here, that's not the case. It can be super dry, and water can be a little bit more sparse. The other interesting thing is there was some sort of a second estrus cycle taking place this week because our opening morning, it was myself, Casey, and Logan went out on my side of the tag. It was the most rutting activity I've seen in over 2 years during archery season, which is historically when you'd think you'd see it. It was awesome. I mean, to have a rifle in your hand when bulls are screaming, cows are talking, they're doing the high estrus cow talk. I mean, it was a pretty amazing thing to see this week. We ended up dealing with a little bit of weather that made it more complex, like a big windstorm blew through for 2 days. So we didn't obviously hear much going on when we were out those days. But, boy, the first day was just phenomenal in what we were able to see elk-wise, numbers, bugles. I mean, it's everything you dream of on a September hunt that happened in the end of October.
Yeah. Yeah, that first morning was fun. Like Adam said, Mike set us up on this nice little saddle, and you start glassing kind of in the dark, not seeing much, and then all of a sudden they just start coming out of the bottoms and they're peeling up, and we had bulls on like literally every finger we could see. And it's just so fun in those moments when you got a guy with a tag. You see bulls. Sometimes they're really light colored cape this time of the year and they really stand out. And it's just fun just picking them apart, getting those spotting scopes out. And then we had a couple ripping bugles below us that we never saw that morning. But like you said, it was just rut, lots of bulls, and kind of crazy to be able to just pass and like, no thanks. Like, we'll try to get a little bigger one. But yeah, that first day was awesome.
This hunt, I think, like a 300-inch bull is a great marker, right? If you're going to judge by scored antlers. Obviously, there's other ways to judge a bull based on the body size. Try to find one that maybe has a little bit of an older look to him, maybe a little bit of funk going on. Those are some indicators we typically look at when we're trying to identify like what elk would get us excited. So knowing coming into it, we're going to see a lot of elk. I think everybody had high expectations that you could turn up one of those, right? Old, big, or ugly. And that was kind of like the objective. We did a ton of research using OnX, so saving offline maps was super helpful. I was fortunate enough to have a lot of waypoints prior from hunting down here 4 years ago. That was also super helpful. And then our big strategy for what we do kind of in all hunts is we really like to get on vantage points and cover country with the Vortex optics. Glass, 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 glass. Out here is unique, and there's not a ton of topography, so when you can find like a couple good vantage points, you can see for a long ways, and that ended up in the end playing some dividends and how things kind of unfolded. But the other strategy is kind of going in on a more close encounter, so you're glassing shorter distances with the hope that although you're not covering as much of a wide span, you're going to be able to shoot and kill anything that does pop up. There's kind of a couple different approaches that we're taking on this particular hunt. So day one rolls around. Now what's in your mind? Day one happens. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I was just still 100% confident because, I mean, we saw so many bulls that day. Even in the afternoon where we went up, it was just, you could just hear bugling. I think I heard bugling every day except for maybe that windstorm day.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, that first day, went to bed just knowing the next day we were going to see more. There's no way you could come out here and not see elk. I mean, every day we were on them.
Yeah, I feel like Brian mentioned, it definitely there was some second cycle cows that were going in because from my experience hunting elk this time of year, you might have some smaller bulls with the cows, but for the most part, the bulls have pulled off. Not the case down here. I think every cow had bulls with them, and there was big bulls with the cows too. Typically, after the majority of the rut, the big bulls pull off, go into those hell holes to recoup after just beating their bodies up, rutting for 30 days. But it was interesting because you saw a lot of elk, but we saw a lot of smaller bulls at first, right? Yeah. And so the whole program is trying to find mature class bull to hopefully kill. And not every group had a mature bull, but there was definitely what we saw, groups of cows that had mature bulls with them still. And so it's interesting that I think there's, like Brian said, a 300 class bull on this unit is a great standard, right? Like, it probably should be a great standard anywhere. Everyone gets caught up in 380s or 400s, whatever it might be. 300 class bull is a really, really big bull. It's an absolutely perfect specimen, right, for the elk. I think there's probably some bigger bulls that have pulled off that we just never saw.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think there's some bulls have come in, rutted their cows, and they pulled off, and there's they've killed some absolute giants down in this unit in the past. This unit has some awesome genetics. It has this really crazy crotch point genetic that Brian killed 2 bulls down here, and they look almost like brothers. So it's pretty cool that you have the chance of killing a big one, but like, where were your standards at, like coming in here? Like, what were you after?
I was right around that same 300 mark, and I was anything over 280 would be 270, 280 would be any bigger than anything I've ever killed out in Colorado. So just coming out here and passing on some of these bulls, it was like, well, it was crazy to me. It was passing on them, but I knew we had lots of time still, and that with as many people as we had, someone was going to get their eyes on something decent. We just kept going and kept glassing and kept trying every day. So it was definitely cool to see that many bulls.
With these shorter hunts too, like you really got to maximize your time in the field. We kind of alluded to it quickly, but essentially you're up around 4:30, 5, out the door by 5:15, 5:30, and then out in the field hunting all day, staying out there, having your lunch, and then getting back to the truck, well after dark. Put in a lot of miles. I mean, it was, you got to work for it.
Yeah, we were certainly hoping it. When we pulled into camp, Jeff told us Mike was our guide, and he said, get a good look at camp because this is the last time you're going to see it during the day. And today, today is the last day, or the day after the last day, and it's the second time I've seen it in the daylight. So
That's
he
so
wasn't
funny.
wrong. Yeah.
It's funny because when we go into these hunts, we're trying to produce content, right? Like, we're trying to capture some really good content for the people at home to watch and enjoy. And so when you go into a hunt like this, you always want, if it's us that have the tag or if somebody we're helping out or taking along or give a hunt away like we did with Daniel a few years ago, you want them to be successful. You want them to find success. But in the back of my head, I never want them to find success early because for two reasons. I want to capture a lot of cool content for the people at home, but I also want them to
Get the full experience
and have the full experience of that hunt.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you guys did. I mean, if you were to script how a hunt should go down, in my opinion, your hunt went down that way.
Yeah.
You got to do all the things. You got to spend 5 days out here chasing elk around with your dad and with Mike and us, and you found success the very last day. Like, I don't think we could have scripted it any better.
No, I don't think so. It was great to be able to bond with everybody for such a long time. Like I said yesterday, we all would have bonded in camp, if we filled our tags early. But when you're out in the woods, it's just a special kind of bond. You kind of all get together, and everyone came together as a team yesterday, and everyone glassing and pinpointing bulls. It was a good time.
The plan really worked out well. I mean, we'll fast forward to the good juicy parts, but after several days of searching around and hard work, Adam's tag was still in his pocket unpunched as we wound down into day number 5. If you guys have watched our videos over the years, you know that's kind of approaching 4th and 10.
4th and 10.
But you've also heard us say the last day is always better than the first day. And I truly believe that for a lot of reasons that Casey just mentioned. So because we were kind of rotating around hunting with Adam just to keep the numbers, relatively good, there wasn't 12 dudes out there with one hunt. The day before, Eric and I went and did a little recon mission. Casey and Adam and Logie Bear and Maddie were with the whole crew and Mike, and they were on some great action. Adam dealt with a couple little setbacks going through some of those days, which we've all experienced, been a part of.
I wouldn't call them setbacks. I would call them experiences.
Experiences, yeah.
He had some experiences.
That's exactly right. So he and I went and did a little recon mission in an area that we've spent some time in.
Well, let's take a step back. So we're going to talk about what you did?
Oh, well, let's talk about Adam's
okay,
bull.
But day 2, Brian had some success.
Yeah, we tagged out day 2. It was super cool. We brought the OGs back together. We were like, you know what, man? We haven't hunted as just the 3 of us in so many years. What if it was just me, Casey, and Eric that went out together? So we did that, and it was awesome. It worked out great. Was able to shoot a great bull. Had a ton of fun. The best part, one of the best parts, was we called in mules, which I've never experienced any stock packing out any kind of animal I've ever killed. So we were able to do that. Day 2.
Day 2, yeah. Day 3, we were a little sleepy.
Processed the meat, got that taken care of.
But we went and glassed an area that we knew about, and we saw a lot of elk.
Yes.
Lots of bulls, lots of potential.
Yeah, and just to kind of paint the picture for that is that spot we glassed from is high, and you're looking at the big picture, we call it.
Big picture.
We're literally glassing bulls from 1 to 5 miles.
Yeah.
And all you're seeing is what will be the sunny faces in the early morning, which tend to be where the elk like to feed. They always seem to be out in those sunny faces. And I think it was day 3 that we got up there, and man, Casey was on one, man. He was picking it apart. Bull over here, bull over here.
Casey
over
has
here.
unbelievable vision and is an exceptional glasser, and particularly at
Long ranges.
normal distances. Like under 1,000 yards, he's great, but he really excels from, I don't know, like a mile to 5 miles, I would say.
Yeah, it's. I don't know why. Brian talked about it earlier. Like, we got to hunt a lot of different ways. That's typically how we hunt, is glass the big picture, figure something out, make a game plan, get in on them. Well, when I went out with you the other day and hunted with Mike's approach is a little different. It's like short glass, right? So you get in tight with the bulls. Like, you're hoping to glass up a bull within 400 yards.
Yeah.
But what's awesome about that is if you glass up a bull, you have a play right there. You're not making a giant game plan and driving around here doing that. Like, you're in it. And what I have understood is I'm not really great at glassing that short distance. I'm always trying to glass further, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so big picture, we glassed a bunch of bulls the third day.
The hard part, though, with that is trying to figure out how the heck do you get to that spot? Because when you drop elevation, everything kind of looks similar.
Yeah.
So we, again, using a lot of tools from Google Earth to OnX to just trying to figure stuff out, we finally started putting the puzzle pieces together where we thought these bulls were that we kept seeing. And again, they're like five-ish miles away, like a long ways away. With a touch of a breeze, like you can't really make out much more than just like a frame of a rack at best. And when it got real windy, you could just tell they were elk. I mean, there's like that bull is that looks like a bull because he's lighter.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, we had no idea what we were dealing with. And that really kind of like set us up for day 4. That's when E and I did some exploring.
Yeah, day 4 was windy. That's when
super windy.
We knew that windstorm was coming in. Adam had it pinpointed. He said, man, we should probably try to kill a bull before Tuesday, because Tuesday it was supposed to be like 60-mile-an-hour winds. And so Tuesday came, and, well, we hadn't shot one yet. And like Brian said, Casey was with the crew, and they were out. They're getting on bulls. They were, they had bulls, just they didn't find the shooters that they wanted. And then we spent that morning, Brian and I, glassing again, and kind of reconfirmed a lot of the same elk that Casey had seen the morning before, but they just were not out that long. As soon as that sun hit, they all started peeling out onto the shady side of the hill, which would keep them out of that wind as well. So we kind of had this situation like, well, what's next? And I'm like, man, let's drive over there, and start finding like where exactly we're seeing these bulls and how to approach them. And that was, like you said, small things lead to big things, and just from glassing it to us confirming again and then going and finding the road systems to find those exact hills and those exact trees Casey saw the bulls by, really set us up for day 5.
Yeah, you guys really nailed it on that too, because right where you guys had us parked and we walked up that ridge and popped out and we're glassing, I mean, once we got to that side hill, you could see everything that you guys were seeing. Yeah,
that's what's funny is me and B-Mac, what we did is we drove in this area again. It was 5 miles as a crow flies. I mean, 15, 20.
Easily.
Road miles,
dirt roads, little 2-track roads, and getting in there. And we found this little, knob to kind of see and confirm what Casey had seen the day before. And like Adam said, we had rallied and said, me and Brian with the angles were like, we need to send them up this ridge.
Yep.
And if for the 3rd day in a row these elk end up on that face, they should see them. And, I wasn't there that morning, but like Adam said, it worked out just right.
Yeah, they had elk right on the face. It wasn't the bigger frame bull that we thought. He ended up being a little bit higher on the hill and went over the top. But what it did is just validated that we were in a good place. And from that, they were on a higher point, and Mike and Adam saw a pretty good big frame bull a couple thousand yards away over a few ridges go bed in this big pocket of pines. And that really is what set us up for the afternoon plan. And by this point in time, we had like the whole crew together. Eric and Logie Bear had run out to a different spot just to kind of get eyes on one more area as like a backup plan.
Yeah, backup.
And the rest of us kind of deployed a game plan, just putting all these pieces together to figure out, like, man, what's going to get us in the best position to get this tag punch. And again, as a reminder, this is day number 5 now, the last day of the hunt.
And it's fairly windy, and it's not the conditions you would hope for. And that's what's crazy about these 5-day hunts is you get 2 days of bad weather, whether it's fog, wind, snow or rain, it could really put a quick damper to how many elk you're seeing or how often they're out.
Opportunities you're going to have.
So it changed real quick.
Well, I think what the big thing was, we keep saying small things lead to big things, is me and Dean were doing the big glass thing back from the point. These guys were in close. Brian was glassing in close. You guys were up on the knob, had an experience.
Yep.
And we were seeing elk, and me and Dino saw a bull we thought was a big bull that was headed in a direction, and you guys had saw a big bull. And things were, like, we knew, like, I knew where the elk were going, but I was trying to send you guys waypoints, and my waypoints were way off. Anyway, like, it came down to this conversation of, hey, if we get to the yellow knob, can you guys just guide us into that elk? And we were said, yeah, we could probably do that. But at the last minute, Eric and Logan showed up. We talked about it. We're like, let's just all get together and talk about this and just confirm exactly where everything that we saw was, what you guys saw, and how we can approach this the very best. So instead of sitting and trying to guide you guys in from the yellow knob, we were like, we'll just drive over to where you guys are at. And so we got over there and we started talking. We confirmed that we saw the same bull go to the same place.
Yep.
And there was possibly 2 different shooters in there. And so then we devised a plan that you guys were going to go get in close to where we last saw him. And me and Eric and Dean were going to go around on another knob where we might have a different angle to get in there and hopefully find this bull. And because at this point, when we got to the knob, I told these guys, I go, 4.5 hours, guys. That's all we have.
Mm-hmm. It was like 2 something when we got up there.
Last shooting light was 6:47, I believe. I told them, I go, 2.5 or 4.5 hours is all we got. We got to do something.
Yep. So we split up again.
It was myself, Maddie, Logie Bear, Adam, and Mike, and we were going up to try to get on this ridge finger that would position us across from where we thought the elk bedded. And we had one marker. There was like one dead pine tree amongst several live ones. It was like orangish colored. So that was like our kind of our indicator that we were going to try to get at least across the canyon from. When we figured we'd be pretty close to shooting range. Maybe not, maybe a little bit further than we hoped for, but we'd be able to see like the whole face of where we got. And then Dean and Eric and Casey kind of slid around to a different glassing knob so they could see a different angle. And we figured collectively we could turn something up. So we gained a bunch of elevation, and on our way up there, we spotted some cows in a little draw, kind of out of the wind. Got Adam set up and did a little bump, which is it's a kind of a newer technique. It's an old technique, but a new technique for us.
My son coined the phrase, if you guys watched his deer hunt this year, it's called the flush and go.
Flush and go.
The flush and go.
We did a little flush and go. So we sent Maddie down this draw. We had good wind in his face, which I think is really critical if you do these bumps. And then he just slowly kind of worked his way up towards where he saw the cows and did a couple cow calls. And sure enough, we were at the top of the saddle, and here comes these cows squirting out. And they're not on a dead run. They're just kind of like casually bumped out of there. And lo and behold, there was a bull with them, which wasn't too much of a surprise, but it wasn't a mature bull. So everything in that plan was perfect except for the fact that it wasn't a mature bull. But just it reconfirmed that that's a great technique. We won't spend too much time getting into it, but that's how we had success with the elk that I was able to get to, the old bump. And I think that's a technique that doesn't get used that much anymore, at least out west.
Man, I remember hearing stories of like my uncles and stuff back in the day deer hunting, and that's all they would do is they would glass in the morning and try to find deer. And if they went into a canyon, they were doing a deer drive.
Yep.
They were going to push those deer out. And in my head, I was always like, yeah, but you're going to be shooting at deer probably on the run. And so it's a technique that I think that's kind of gone by the wayside because more people glass. But it's a technique that will really work if you do it the right way, the way you just explained. You're not trying to blow them out of the country. You're just trying to get them out into the open where you can, get eyes on them and see if it's something you want to take.
Yeah, we do a lot of drives back in New York like that. You just kind of soft bump them out of the brush because those bucks the whitetails will just bed down in the goldenrod and just stay there all day, or in the thick stuff. So we usually bump them out real soft, and then if they come out like those bulls did, or that bull did yesterday, and those cows, it works out perfect. But because sometimes it's just not moving.
Yeah.
So we eventually made our way to the finger ridge we wanted to be at, and started kind of covering country. The sun's pretty high, and unfortunately was definitely like in our face.
Yeah.
Which wasn't the most idealistic, but that's just kind of the situation. And we finally kind of started dropping down to the orange tree. And as we got a little bit closer, Casey and Eric had spotted a couple bulls they had bedded, and ironically enough, they were similarly right around that orange tree. Obviously, we're from a completely different angle, but we got down there and we were able to turn up one bull bedded in the shade, which then led us to see another bull. And we're like, okay, we know like we're kind of in the vicinity, and it added up for where, you know, they saw this bigger bull go in the morning. So by all accounts, like, things are looking good. Like, the wind is blowing unfavorably down the canyon, you know, pretty consistently, and the sun was in our face. But we had bulls spotted as time was ticking down, as we were approaching the 3 o'clock hour in the evening with the 6 p.m. As a shooting light was, I think, at like 6:45 was last shooting light.
6:46 was the last shooting light last night.
So we got into position after we turned the bulls up. We dropped further elevation to try to get a better idea of getting Adam comfortable. You know, anytime you're trying to shoot across a canyon and you're on a severe downhill and you're trying to shoot uphill, prone is kind of out of the question. So we tried to find him some spots where he had a good backrest, has bipods out, and really just like be ready. We had a feeling like the bulls were going to start getting up. They'd been starting to feed around 3 o'clock, and it wasn't too much further after that bulls got on their feet. And Maddie spotted several bulls coming up from a higher point that we didn't expect, and cows. It was a pretty big group of elk that started feeding down into the draw we were in. And in no time flat, we had several shooters ready to rock. Like, we went from not being able to find shooters for 4 days to, dude, we have like 4 shooters, you know, 600 yards away.
Yeah, on the last day.
Last day.
Last few hours.
Well, what I thought was interesting, to step back a little bit, was my rant I went on earlier about the mature bulls. Some of the mature bulls have pulled off the cows. So not every group's going to have a mature bull with it, right, at this point in time, like you guys saw with the cows.
Yeah, a lot of them have the smaller bulls.
So when we were hiking into our little glassing point, we actually jumped a bull. Eric jumped a bull like 30 yards away, 50 yards away, something close. And he got a real quick look at it. And he's like, dude, that was a big bull. And so we're like, and we were in the zone, man. There's beds everywhere. You could tell the elk were living in there. And we got up to our glassing knob, and Eric spotted the bull we had jumped. And you could tell because he was breathing hard. He ran, you know, a couple hundred yards or whatever. And we started looking at him. And then Dino actually picked up a second bull right behind him, they were really nice bulls. They were mature 5 points. And, you know, not the biggest bull, not the bull that you were after, but last day shooter, for sure, is what we kept saying. And we were texting you guys like, hey, got a couple bulls over here. Think about it. And I got to say, I wasn't with you, but I could tell you were sticking to your guns, because Brian's like, would you guys shoot it? Like, how big are these bulls really? But you know, I could tell you were wanting to shoot that big bull that we had seen going. And so, like, props to you, man, for holding out, like, sticking to your guns. You had faith.
Yeah, Mike was super optimistic about it, too, because he's been out here and hunted, and he knows what they do, you know. So I put trust in him, and I kind of trusted my gut as much as I could. After seeing him going in the morning with the sun just shining on the back of his rack, kind of got me excited. I didn't want to make a play on those ones in case we couldn't get back up on the ridge and make a play on these other ones, especially after we saw those bulls bedded up top. Kind of knew they were there, so I was hoping more would come out.
So things started to get pretty chaotic pretty quick, as it oftentimes happens. And
rodeos?
A little bit of a rodeo. Good thing, though, he's a roper, you know.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of history with the rodeo world, so it was good to have him around, keep things calm. But several bulls started feeding down at like a 45-degree angle across the adjacent ridge. And it's kind of like a thicker, oaky kind of a patch, which a lot of these elk love. And again, because the sun is at an angle that is right in our face, we had some challenges getting set up to where we could see good, but then also just like the right distance. They started at like 700 and then eventually kind of worked to like 600. We wanted to try to get closer. It wasn't a comfortable setup. So We eventually had to move several times, and then there was a little finger ridge that these elk were kind of feeding around, and we were fearful that once we lost them over that finger ridge, we didn't know if there'd be another opportunity because it got progressively thicker as you get further up the draw. As things happened, though, they did work over the finger ridge, and we had to hustle, gain elevation again, but lo and behold, there was like a little opening in the bottom of this canyon, and we spotted a bull down there. It wasn't the main bull, the big bull, and it was cool. We watched him dang near breed a cow. It was really neat. He was bugling, and he was certainly the mature bull of that herd. He just happened to like step out. So we were set up. It was 500 yards. We had Adam seated, and one of the smaller 5 points was in the thing, and Adam's like, dude, that bull gets me excited. You know, at this point in time, we're talking like pushing 5 o'clock.
Hour and a half.
Things are starting to like get more and more tense because our time window is diminishing. And so we got set up, and just before he was getting ready to shoot, Matt's like, dude, there's the big bull. And he just happened to step into the same meadow. And so now, like, you know, we're changing that. He eventually was able to get a shot off.
Yeah, he stepped out broadside because I was watching that other bull down there that I would have been happy to take. And I think Mike was saying I guarantee he'll turn broadside eventually. So I was just hoping he wouldn't turn broadside and keep walking. And just as I was watching him, that bigger mature bull stepped right out broadside at 500. And I knew the wind was blowing from the right to the left. I didn't know if it would be a factor or not. So I just kind of put it on the back of his lungs. And I was steady as a rock, pulled the trigger, and I think it was Matt. He ended up saying you just hit his brisket because he was watching through the spot scope. And we rewatched the footage after he kind of swirled and went back up. He started to go up the drop, the side hill, and we watched the footage, and you can see it just going and just hitting the front of his brisket.
It's like a flesh wound graze.
Yeah.
And there's this knob that they were going on. From our angle, all we could see was like the sun reflecting on his beams. So you could like pick out these glistening beams slowly working up this knob. How are you feeling at this point in time?
Not so great, especially after watching the video, because I mean, I was trying to make it more right. I was trying to make it like, oh, maybe he got that, artery or something like that, but everyone just confirmed like it probably was definitely a non-lethal kill, especially because he was going up the hill. He was a little slow, a little hesitant on one side, but I wasn't 100% sure we were going to get on that bull again, because once they drop off, they can just disappear out here. So we just decided to.
So Eric, what do you guys see from your angle?
Well, we had seen all the elk come out, and it was just so cool because they were just single file. Me and Casey were bull, bigger bull. Whoa, look at the thirds on that one. That one's a 5x6. Look at the unders. So they kind of go and peel out of our sight, and I had the vlog camera, and we were kind of rolling our own little scene over there, and we agreed. We're like, they're on them. They've got to be making a move. We haven't heard anything from anybody, but I bet we'll hear a gunshot within an hour. And it wasn't, 10 minutes after that?
10 minutes.
Boom, boom. So we're just sweating it. You can't see the elk anymore because they had kind of dipped out. Like you said, they had rolled around that ridge. And me, Casey, and Dean were just glassing your side. Like, we're just trying to figure out where you guys were. Yeah. And in that process, I glassed some elk. I was like, dude, they're up there. And I got the spotting scope out real quick. I was like, that's the 5x6. Like, that's the biggest one of the herd. He's still up there with the cows. Like, they're still in the game. It's not over. Or maybe they shot the 5 point. We're still, we didn't know. But I'm like, I hope that they could see them. I hope that they know, like, they're still right there. And then Dean picked out, I think, Logan and you?
It was Matt and I.
Okay, it was Matt and Brian. And Dean saw you guys. So we got to see kind of where you guys were, and we were trying to put the puzzle pieces together, and still didn't know if you guys had shot one or if you'd killed one or not. So we saw the bull that was just working uphill, kind of towards you guys in a way, but higher than you guys.
That's kind of like where our head was too, is like, okay, we regrouped, right? Like, we kind of were licking our wounds there for a second, but I looked down and I was like, man, we still have like an hour and a half of light. The sun's going to be going down soon, which is going to be beneficial based on the way we were looking into the elk. That's going to help. There's still hope. There's still hope. It's going to be tough, because it was progressively thicker country as they got up there. That scrub oak just can really eat up an elk herd. I mean, they can hide so quick.
Once they got on the top of that knob where you guys were headed to, they were gone, and we couldn't see them except for like 2 cows. We were just seeing them right through the yellow grass and the bases of the trees. And Casey was the one to kind of see him go over the top, and that's kind of when I thought it was game over.
So we were able to basically hustle back up more elevation. So picture like going up this draw. At the top of the draw is a big kind of oak-covered, juniper-covered knob. And on the backside of it, we had peeked over it on our way to get to where we're trying to see the elk earlier in the day. So we kind of had a little bit of an idea how it opened up some. And we figured that's probably where they're headed, is going to be in the backside of this knob, right? So it's going to be shady side. And we just made a play to, like, get up and around that sucker. Casey and Eric were able to confirm, like, yeah, dude, they are definitely headed over there. Now we got to just go turn them up.
Yeah.
So we're hustling.
Yeah, you guys put me first, because if it was going to be a shot, we knew it was going to be a quick shot, because just that little saddle right there wasn't very big across. I mean, maybe 200 yards to the far side.
So we got around to the backside, and we're just, all of us are, as a team, glassing, slowly walking, but still trying to cover country, and we're like, God, they got to be around here somewhere. We kind of started low, making sure, like, did they get below us, and just we're working our way up. And if you looked at a topo map, you kind of see, like, here's where they probably should be coming over at. And from my angle, I was dragging a little behind because I climbed up on this big stump and was covering glass. They continued to move forward, so I'm down there kind of catching up with them. And I just see a lot of commotion happening all of a sudden.
I need to understand this. So after he shot at him once, we finally got a hold of you guys. You guys started working up to the knob. We saw the elk feeding up towards the knob, and then they disappeared, right? And you guys were working up still over the knob. I think Mike said you guys are actually in the saddle at one point.
We set up in the saddle thinking, well, maybe they'll peel right towards us.
And they almost did, dude.
And come right down in the saddle. So we stayed there for probably like 3 minutes. And then nothing. And we just started to progress further around, staying on contour as we get through and around this knob.
But at one point, we were watching the last place we'd saw him, and the whole herd came back down the hill. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of coming straight back down, because they got bumped somehow, obviously.
Something was weird. They were all grouped up.
Because they disappeared, and then all of a sudden they were coming right back through the same place. But instead of coming back down where they came from, they circled around and went back down, which is super odd. They would have got bumped. You thought they would go back down the canyon, but they circled back and went around the knob to the other side. And I think that's where you guys ended up seeing them.
Yeah, so we were just working away. Adam was in the lead. He had one in the pipe, ready to go. I reminded him up there, I'm like, did you adjust your scope back to 0? It's just he went from 500. It's easy to forget sometimes and leave that there.
Yeah, I certainly appreciated that.
Check, turning your scope power down, all those little things that sometimes slip your mind in the heat of the moment. And he just led the way. And so as this commotion takes place, he was carrying shooting sticks that could allow him to shoot standing up really quick. And now, like, the shot distance is going to be like 150 or less. And wouldn't you know it, there's the cows. And they happen to be in an opening. And again, like, thick oak everywhere. Here's a perfect window. Adam has visual. I see him put the rifle up.
Yeah, it came. We were skirting that corner there, and the sun was just right in my eyes here. So I was like, if I drop down, it'll cut that. The sun will drop down too. The mountain will block the sun a little bit more. So I kind of just went down a little bit more. And we got real close, and I heard some rocks, and I looked back at the guys, and I was like, did you guys hear that? And as soon as I said that, they were like, cows right there. So I turned around, quick, got the gun on the shooting sticks, and I was looking through the scope and adjusting my parallax and adjusting the zoom and everything to kind of get it, because Brian had told me earlier it helps if you back it out so that sun's not so bright in there. And I had it on those cows, and all of a sudden I just hear everyone behind me, bull, 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 and just cow calling.
What are the odds? There was a bunch of bulls in there. Yeah, what are the odds?
For real.
That the bull that happens to just be at the tail end of these cows is the 5x6 with the big unders that we had just taken a shot at, skimmed his brisket. What are the odds? And now we are at 6:15, about 30 minutes left, I think, of shooting light. 6:15.
6.
6, yeah, somewhere right there. Like,
not much. 45
not
minutes
much.
left, guys.
Yeah.
The sun was just setting. It was wild, man. I couldn't believe that it all worked out the way it did. So the bull starts to follow the cows, and just like cow call parade from all of us trying to get him to stop.
It's everywhere.
And he had happened to stop just a little premature of the shooting lane, which was okay because he stopped. He wasn't on the move.
Yeah, he stopped right behind that tree, and I could see his rack and knew that it was, and everyone was confirming too that it was the same bull. And I just put the crosshairs out in front of him, right, or waited for him to step right into him, and it was just a perfect situation. And just squeeze the trigger.
About 90 yards.
About 90 yards, yeah.
Which is amazing. And, man, we all had eyes on him. He kind of did a little whirl, spun uphill, and, you know, like, I think the greatest thing that can happen when you're the tag holder is to watch that sucker fall over.
Yeah, it was awesome. Just watch him flop and just his feet start kicking. I knew it was game over there.
Pretty incredible, man. I mean, 4th and 10 turned into probably 4th and 20. We had some penalties, like some reviews. A lot of things went sideways, but at the end of the day, it all worked out.
Yeah, that was wild from our angle because we were just stressing, wondering what the heck. And when they went over, and then we heard that first shot, I was like, dude, that sounded like a hit, you know? And we didn't know what exactly it would look like on the backside. So I remember pulling up my OnX real quick. I was like, wow, there's kind of a finger ridge that runs down. Maybe once they went over, they could see from A to B, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, we got the news, BBD, they said. And, man, we were just so pumped.
No.
We were so pumped. We had Adam's father, Dean, with us. We were all high-fiving, hugging each other.
There's a lot of hugs.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking, like, dude, just imagine being over there, you know?
Yeah.
Like, those guys have got to be so pumped right now.
It was, you know, like so many hunts we've all been on. It was a roller coaster. Went from, like, a real, real low to within an hour or so later, the highest of highs, with, you know, literally minutes left of shooting light and minutes left of the tag or the hunt being over with as a whole.
I mean, it's a hunt I'll never forget, that's for sure.
No, it's definitely the best experience of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Brian said, that a lot of times hunts are like that. Highs and lows, but you just got to, stick with it?
Stick with it.
Just gotta stick
Positive
with it.
hunter attitude, right?
PHA, baby.
Man. We have a lot of sayings and a lot of phrases we've used over the years, but it's funny, you know, because yesterday I think we talked about it after we heard that you killed the bull, is last day truly is the best day.
Yeah, you get to take all the knowledge, everything you've learned throughout, you know, in this case, the first 4 days, to apply everything you've learned into the last day. And that's why we say it's better than the first day, because you've got more knowledge. And that's a perfect example is this hunt.
Yeah.
From glassing to figuring out the road system, the mapping, how to get up there, and how, you know, which angles to glass these bulls. And that was true.
I'd almost take it a step further and say the last day is better than the first day, because you know at the end of the day, at the end of the last day, if you are successful in harvesting or not, you got to experience that whole season. You got to experience so many different opportunities, experiences, whatever it might be, but you take all that with you, and usually it makes you a better hunter.
Yeah, sure.
For the next year. And we were just lucky that the last day we killed a bull.
Time and pressure, baby. We've said it before as well. Mm-hmm. If you spend enough time and you apply enough pressure, eventually it's going to lead to good things and a successful hunt. I mean, I think that's such a true statement. It was an amazing week. We're so incredibly fortunate that you were able to be the lucky winner. We get to know you, lifelong friendships. It was amazing that you had a chance to bring your dad and share this hunt with him. I think those are priceless memories you'll have for your whole life. And just so excited that it worked out the way it did.
Yeah, we just are very grateful that you know, we got to meet you and hang out with you and spend this week with you and your dad. It's been awesome.
Yeah, same here. And meet you guys and see that you guys are actually the same exact way you act on, YouTube and all those channels and stuff. Because you never know coming out.
Yeah.
So,
for everybody listening at home, we've said it many times, but we truly appreciate you guys. We feel so fortunate to be able to wake up every day, do something that we love, live out this crazy dream of being able to create content and have this brand that we are so passionate about. And when we get a chance to meet so many of you, whether it's at a hunt expo or out on hunts, or in this unique case, like going on a hunt with somebody that's followed our channel and supported our brand, it just, man, it means the world to us. So thank you guys for tuning into this podcast and just following along, man. It's been a cool journey to watch the evolution of this brand, and it could not happen without everybody's support.
So let's throw out this question. We get asked you guys at home all the time, like, what do you want to see us giveaway next? Like, what do you want to... Let's ask Adam. You think we should do another hunt giveaway?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Winning, you got that jumping jack and the truck going, and that's awesome and everything. And having the hunt experience is just, it's been amazing to get to know you guys and bond with each other. Everybody should get a chance to feel it. But, I mean, obviously it's impossible to get everybody. So, I mean, that was the reason I wanted to get a bull and give everyone good content, and so they could, know at least we got the job done. And so.
Yeah, I was thinking about that a lot yesterday. I've always said I believe the hunting community is the best community. It's helped me through my life and our brand, and we want to give back. And whether it's, I kind of feel like it's sharing the love. Everything we've been able to build, we're able to give products away. In this instance, give a hunt away, and that's pretty special. So thank you, Adam, for just supporting our brand, watching our videos, coming on this hunt, being a part of this journey together. It's been fun with you and your dad, man. It's been cool.
Blessed. Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Guys, thanks for listening at home. We appreciate your support. You're the only reason that we're allowed to do what we do. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying this season. If you haven't, go and check out this video. It is up now.
Adam, drive safe, man. Thanks for everything. Safe travels back home. And maybe one of these days we'll have to come to New York and do a little whitetail hunt. Visit the butcher shop.
I like the ice fishing idea.
Yeah, we get Maddie out, do some ice fishing.
There you go.
All right, everybody.
Blessed.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thank you.